Official.
Recording again. I wish we could have that sound as our intro. Recording in progress.
I could probably find
Is that
something.
proprietary to Zoom? Would we get sued?
No.
Well, welcome
I'm
back.
gonna make
No,
one. I'm gonna
you're
make
gonna
one.
make one?
That says recording has begun.
Recording in progress. All right, let's get started, man.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to the Brutally Honest Loan Officer Podcast. I am Derek Brown, and this guy with me is none other than Stephen Brock. Say hi, Stephen.
Hello, world.
What's up, man? So, how was your Christmas? Did you spoil others or get spoiled?
I am like every other dad that doesn't know what they get their kids. The wife gets it all, so you're just as surprised when all the packages open.
It's so true.
I will say this year was fun because we were home. We went to Tennessee the week before, but we came back the 23rd. But this year we gave the kids each $50 and was like, you have to go buy your sibling a present.
Oh, no. How old are they again?
7 and 8.
Gotcha. Okay, so they have an idea of money.
Yeah. Well,
because Audrey gets excited over a nickel.
Yeah. They don't have
to,
Isabel. So they both don't understand what is worth. They're getting that concept. What is worth more? Like,
gotcha.
Joe would be like, "I got 5 pennies. You only got 1/4. I'm better." Like,
right?
Like,
yeah. It's quantity over quality for them. It's awesome.
But yeah, it was good. What about you? What did you guys do?
Dude, with Audrey being 4 and Bennett being 1, we're just at that age where like everything is magical.
Yeah.
So Audrey is fully into Santa and the Elf on the Shelf. And by the way,
that's the best part of Christmas.
She is super creative. Like all of her stuffed animals have crazy names. I was expecting a crazy name for her elf when she named it a couple years ago. And she came up with Bob. Bob, just Bob. Like I don't know. So Bob came to visit for a month. And it's just she would wake up in the morning and wonder where's Bob, and get so excited. And then Bob did something bad, and he had just all the different things that we did. He was hanging from a light. He climbed the Christmas tree. He had a hot tub full of marshmallows. So just like she loved every second of it. And then Christmas was, just magical with opening presents. And she's so excited that Santa came, and Bennett's 1. So he's just excited about like the wrapping paper.
Yeah, he don't care about anything.
And he's just there and he's looking at her stuff. And now it's an issue of them fighting over each other's toys. But I don't know, man. It was just magical. It was really fun. Stayed home. My mother-in-law lives near us, and my wife's sister and her family came into town. So that was a lot of fun. They've got some older kids. So it was like good family time and, just gift giving.
Nice.
So
that's good.
Yeah. But since we're on the subject of gift giving, this episode, we're going to dive into giving gifts, how the money can be used to purchase a home. So, Stephen, have you ever done a loan for somebody where the entirety of down payment and closing costs actually came from a gift and not the borrower's funds?
Yes, I have, where the borrower had technically no skin in the game for fund wise. It was everything was gifted to them. So it's a good thing, having that family to do it, or like who can actually give the gift. That's the thing. I always have people like, oh, well, this person's going to give me money. This person's going to give me money. So it's like, well, who are these people?
Right. Yeah, my roommate from college is just going to throw me some cash.
Yeah.
He's going to give me $5,000. Is that cool?
Yeah, if it sits there for 60 days, it's cool.
yeah, exactly. And you don't have to pay it back.
Exactly. So with the gifting, you are allowed to give a gift, but it's got to be, the related to the borrower in some capacity, spouse, a child, dependent. you know, but it could be by blood, marriage, whatever the case is. I will say I had one where I was talking about where the full gift is, it was, they said they were married and the father-in-law, it was only the quote unquote the wife, and I say quote unquote because we found out later on they were not actually legally married, but the wife was the only one on the loan. The father-in-law was gifting the money, and when we found out they weren't actually legally married, that makes it basically a perfect stranger
Right.
giving money, which you can't do.
Correct.
Luckily, the quote unquote husband and wife had a child together. So
Ah,
therefore, yeah. Therefore, the quote unquote father-in-law was the grandparent and now related in a family relationship. So therefore, he was able to give money.
gotcha. That's awesome. Uh, wow. So they got lucky that they had had a kid, and then they were allowed to buy a house with a gift.
Yes. I mean, in
Love it.
every aspect of it, they were married, just no official piece of paper saying they were married. Like they lived together, everything was great. The husband just wasn't on the loan for financial reasons of his credit. So it had to be just the wife. And yeah, it was a little curveball, but we got through it. You know, once we, hey, they definitely have a child together, boom, it worked.
Gotcha. All right. So when you're getting a gift from a family member, can they just give you a check and we're good? Like that's it, right?
Nah, you guys see where that money comes from. That's the biggest thing. We have to sort, what people don't understand is any money happening in the mortgage transaction, we have to source it. We have to know where it's coming from. And that's
The Patriot Act.
the biggest thing. No money laundering here.
Correct.
So we got to see where that money is coming from. So if it's depending on the type of loan, we have to see it leave that other person's account. I will say they can give it to you directly. It's a more paperwork involved if they wire it to you before closing, but we still have to see it came from their account, hit your account. We have to look at their bank statement to make sure that it's, you know, sitting there, that it's just not, you know, cash under the mattress suddenly going into somebody's bank account and then going over. Again, that's what the government is looking for, is that money laundering.
Right.
So we have to look at those things. I will say the easiest way is if they wire it straight to title company at
Yep.
closing. Because now we're
Agreed.
not looking for it to hit your account, waiting for that updated statement and all that, that we're just, hey, it's at title, good to go, kind of thing.
Yep. There's also a little known fact that comes into play with property type as well.
So
So
what do you mean? What's the property type?
when you're putting 20% down or more on a primary or second home, the gift can cover all the funds. But if you're putting less than 20% down on a multi-unit home, so talk about like duplex, triplex, or quadplex, so a 2, 3, or 4 unit property, the borrower must make a minimum 5% contribution from their own funds. So like the whole new thing, and I just saw a video from Grant Cardone talking about Fannie Mae, you know, made this change where you can buy triplex with 5% down. It's accurate. But the 5% has to come from your own funds.
Correct.
So it's awesome that Fannie Mae reduced the down payment requirement, but that can't be given on a multi-unit home.
That's the biggest thing. Yes, you have now that Fannie has changed that you can put 5% down on these things. Like people are going to maybe get
When you're
first.
occupying one of the units as your primary. By the way, let
Correct.
me preface that too. We're not talking about just a full-blown investment. When you're buying a multi-unit home, planning to live in one of the units, you can do that with 5% down, but that 5% has to come from you. If you put 10% down and 5% from you, you can do 5% from gift. You can have a gift cover the closing costs, but the 5% has to be from the borrower's funds.
Exactly. And the thing with it is, so we're not accountants or anything like that. So a gift under, was it for 2024 under 18,000 is tax free.
Yeah, it went up $1,000 from last year.
Yeah, so that's a huge thing now. You know, go to your accountant to get the exact information to how you're going to write that in your taxes, but having that gift is can be tax free. Now, what people don't understand is I see a lot of people like, oh, my parents are going to loan me the money. If it is a loan and not a gift, Loan meaning you're paying them back, and that's how we are seeing it. It will not count.
Right.
It
It's no
has
longer a
to,
gift.
yep, it has to be a gift, which means they are giving it to you with no conditions. It is yours to do what you want to do with it, and that you do not have to pay them back.
Correct. Um, the other thing too, when you say parents, keep in mind that it's specifically mom and dad. So mom can give 18 or yeah, 18,000. Dad can give 18,000. So from mom and dad, you can have a total of 36,000 without any tax implications starting January 1st, 2024. So it's, per parent. So I mean, and then if you had a grandfather and grandmother giving another 18, next thing you know, you're up to quite a bit of money being, so what that could equal $72,000 in down payment. If you had 4 giving the max. So we just, you got to make sure you're structuring it the right way. You got to make sure that you're talking to a loan officer that knows how to structure this, document everything correctly. If parents don't want us seeing the full bank statement, they might be able to wire to title and avoid, supplying all the documentation necessary. But they will have to sign a gift letter explaining that it's a gift with no repayment. But it's a great way to, help purchase a home.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people out there, it's affordability issue. As we are recording this, we are starting to see rates kind of trend down.
Heck
So,
yeah.
and that's great news for us, great news for everybody out there. But sometimes people don't have enough money saved with it. And it's like,
Right.
okay, do you do down payment assistance? Well, the caveat on down payment assistance, we'll do a podcast on that, is there's more risk. So could be a higher rate depending on what down payment you're looking at. So it's okay, do I have family that will help me out
But
with
there's
this?
also income limits, loan limits. There's some other stuff that you have to watch for. So if you have good income and maybe your rent is just really expensive. I talked to a customer the other day that's renting. It's a beautiful house, but $4,200 a month. Good night. So their mortgage payment's going to be less on what they're renting. But sometimes it's just hard to save that necessary amount. And then if your rent is going to match your mortgage payment, it might just be beneficial to try and get a gift, from a family member to help you purchase now. And then later on, if you decide to give them a gift back, we're none the wiser.
Exactly. I mean, I just had a realtor this last year, 2023. She's an empty nester now. She gifted her kids are 20 and 21 or 22. They're right in that age, both of them. Moved both of them out. They wanted to leave, of course. They get that. They're adults now. They want to leave. And she's like, you're not going to rent. You're going to go find a place that you can afford. Your boyfriend or whoever is not going to be on it. It's going to be what you can afford, and we'll gift you the money for the closing.
Right.
And I mean, within a couple of months, they had both their kids out, bought their own places. I mean, these 2 girls are super excited about it. It was an amazing thing to kind of see them be able to do it. They even used some down payment assistance. They used Hometown Heroes to help them out, but I mean, that doesn't cover everything. And
Right.
then the parents cover the rest with it. So it was a great thing that to see how that happen, where if they didn't have their family helping, they would be stuck there kind of stuff.
It's awesome, man. I love it. Making home ownership dreams come true. Stephen Brock,
That's
Family
what we do.
Mortgage.
Figure it out. There's always a plan.
Yes. All right, man. That about wraps it up. So thank you for tuning in. I am Derek Brown, and this is Stephen Brock, and this is the Brutally Honest Loan Officer Podcast. Thank you for joining. Stephen, any final words on this episode?
See you next week.
See you next week.